Oh gosh, where's the feedback? Feedback. Hi, hello, everyone. Hello. Hi. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Trans Sister Radio Show. Hello. Come on in. What's everybody up to? Say hi, Hattie. Say hi. Hey guys, what's up? Hi everybody, thanks for joining. I also want to say hey to everybody on live that's watching right now. We have some friends watching via live. If you're watching on live, I want to let you guys know that you can come on over to YouTube. I put the link in the description there. Come on over to YouTube, join the conversation. In just a few minutes, we are going to be inviting on Florida House of Representative Carlos G. Smith is going to be here with us today. I'm super excited about this conversation. I'm super excited to have him on here. I have so many questions, and I'm going to try to get them all in. And I definitely will also want to know what you guys think. So like I said, if you're on Facebook, come on over to YouTube so you get a chance to watch it live on YouTube. We're going to have Mr. Smith on in just a few minutes. So I'm super excited about this. It's going to be great. So let's see. How's everybody doing? Come on over. Come on in. Hey, if you're already in here and you're already viewing, thank you so much for being here. Go ahead and hit the share link. Share this. Let's get an audience and let's get a conversation going, okay? Come on in. We're going to have Carlos G. Smith from the Florida House of Representatives is going to be right here in just a few minutes. It's going to be super exciting too. So how's everybody's weeks? How's everyone's week? Sierra, I know you've got to be on here. Let me check with you guys and see who's on here so far, what you guys are saying. Sierra, I know you're on here. You're faithful to be here. Hey, Adam, what's going on? Hey, Michaela, thank you so much for being here. Cece, I knew you were here. Hey, Boo Bear. Is she a Westie? Is who a Westie? Oh, no. Hattie Mae, she is a Shih Tzu Maltese. Yeah. Hi, everybody. Thank you guys so much for being here. Invite people, send this out. Let's get a conversation going. Like I said, in just a few minutes, we will be talking live with Mr. Smith. And listen, I want to know, I want you guys to input. I want your input. So make sure you're using the comment section of this live stream so that you can comment and tell us how you feel. Tell us what you think. I want to know. So, I got to tell you guys a funny story before we get started. So just a few minutes ago, right before we got ready to get started, I went in the bathroom. I was like, you know what? I don't feel like doing any makeup. I was in makeup for 18 hours yesterday. And so I said, I don't even feel like doing makeup tonight. I said, Lord, I hope I can just do without any makeup tonight. So I came out here and I felt like, oh, girl, you look good. Oh, your hormones are working great. You look so soft. And my husband comes up to me and he always helps me get ready for the show. And so he comes up to me and he says, Babe, aren't you gonna wear a little bit of powder? Oh my God. For my trans sisters, y'all can only imagine how I felt. I was like, what do you mean? Mind you, any other time he's always like, "You're absolutely gorgeous. I could be in a freaking do-rag and a house dress," and he's like, "You're gorgeous. You're fine, babe." And then here I am in a, wanted to go wash face, thought I was doing a great job going wash face, and well, so. Anyways, what's everybody up to? What you guys up to? We're gonna invite Mr. Smith over in just a few minutes. I just want to give it a couple more minutes to see if we can get some more people in here. Like I said, let's get an audience going. So if you're on and you're viewing right now, thank you for being here. Go ahead and hit the share button and let's get some more people in here, okay? As you know, you're tuning in to the Transistor Radio Show. And I am Tiara Latrice, and I'm Tiara Latrice Kelly. And I'm super excited to be here, and I'm super excited for you guys to be here. Super excited about what's going to be happening tonight. So go ahead and hit that share button. Let's get some people in here. Let's get a good show going. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's see who else is coming in. Who's coming in? If you're coming in right now, say hi. Shoot me a hello if you're just now getting in. Hi, hello. In the comments, in the comment section, go ahead and just say hello. Hey, everybody that is here, thank you so much for watching. All right, give me just a moment, guys. We're going to be getting ready to add Mr. Smith to the chat in just a moment here so that we can start our interview. If you guys have any questions, like I said, please let me know. Please ask. Guys that are watching this via Facebook Live, come on over to the YouTube link that is in the comments, and you can watch the actual show live on YouTube. We're live right now. So come on over. We're about to invite Mr. Smith in just a moment, okay? Come on over, guys. All right, let's see. So, today's show, there's so many things that I want to talk about, but we're definitely going to cover, campaigning. We're going to talk about some voting, definitely talk about voting, which is extremely important and one of the main reasons I wanted to have this episode. We're going to talk about activism, and I definitely want you guys to hear Mr. Smith's story. He has an, Okay. He has an amazing story, and so we definitely want to hear what he has to say. So stick around, invite people over because this is going to be a really, really good show. So, CC. So recently, a court in Florida affirms dignity for transgender people, even in prison. My question is for Mr. Smith, if he's going to... Okay, I'm going to get to that question. I promise you, CC. I got it noted, and as soon as we get Mr. Smith on, we'll ask that. There's going to be a portion of the show where I'm going to definitely be asking questions, but I will not let you down. I promise. Any questions you guys ask, we're going to try to get to all of them. We do have a limited amount of time. Mr. Smith is a very busy person, so we want to, but we'll get through it together. We're going to get through it, guys. So give me just 1 second. Let's see if we can get that invite sent and get Mr. Smith on. Okay, so my invitation has been sent. Let's see if he accepts it, guys. Like I said, if you're on here right now, share the video. Let people know we're here. Facebook it, share it in all of your social media sites, and tag me. Make sure you tag me so that I can thank you for supporting, because I love you. If you're here and you're supporting and you're watching, thank you, thank you, thank you, guys on live. Thanks for watching. If you guys want to watch the show live from the perspective of the YouTube video, there is a link in the comments. In the description. You can join us here on YouTube and get the full experience. We're about to invite Mr. Smith on in just a minute. I hope I did that right. No, I mean the invite. Hey, Carlos, I see that you're watching on live. If you are, I've sent you the invite on Hangout. So let me know if you got it. Oh, guys, I'm so excited, but I'm so nervous. I'm so nervous because, you know, anytime that you have someone that has the type of power that a lawmaker has in a conversation that's public like this, like, I don't mind. I can speak to anyone at any point in time and I don't mind. But when you have someone, you know, in the public setting like this, and then it's being recorded and it's going to be able to be viewed later on, you know, so I've been so um just a little bit nervous about how to conduct the interview, and I've been beating myself up about it, but I'm just going to be me. So I just want to let you guys know that, because this wouldn't be the Transistor Radio Show with Tiara Latrice if I wasn't being Tiara Latrice. Okay. Share that video, share that video, share that video. I see some of you guys from live are coming on over to YouTube. If you're just now joining us on Facebook Live, we're about to go live with Mr. Carlos Smith. Carlos G. Smith. Listen, I'm going to tell you why I keep saying G, and I'm going to tell him this when he gets on. I love his full name, but I can't pronounce his middle name to save my life, and I was not about to sit here and embarrass myself in front of all of you people. So, yeah, it's like it's Guillermo, but Guillermo, Carlos Guillermo Smith, and I'm hoping I'm saying that right, and we will see in just a few minutes. Is going to be here. So, but like I was telling you guys, I'm just a little bit nervous, but it's coming down because all of you guys are here. My friends are here. We're gonna have a great conversation. Let's see. Let's see. Hey guys on Facebook. Hey, come on over to YouTube. Swing on over, and watch the show live. Let me reach out. Give me just a moment, guys. Okay. One moment. One moment. One moment. All right, guys. All right, guys. It's coming, coming, coming. Let me make sure I sent the right. Let me make sure I did this right, guys. I may have messed up. Give me just one moment. Technical difficulties. Hang in there with me. Hang in there with me. And while we're waiting, share this video. Share, 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 share. Sharing is caring. It's a Sunday evening, 8 o'clock. Most of you are just at home, chilling. There's nothing good on television. Pop on over here, say hello, watch the video. All right, I think I got that right that time. Oh, 1 minute, guys. We're working this out. We're getting this going. Um, oh, okay. I didn't know that. I'm learning something, guys. I'm learning something. I'm learning. I'm learning. Mr. Smith is teaching me already. Oh, what the heck? Weird. Totally weird. Did y'all see that? Wait, can you grab my phone? I don't know. Okay. Because I think he's going to try calling me through the phone and then see if we can join him here. I don't know how that works, though. Guys, I'm learning today. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry about this, but we're having a couple technical difficulties. We're trying to get Mr. Smith on. He's waiting and willing, but okay, he says, let me try this one more time. Yes. Invite. So, anyways, guys, we're trying to get Mr. Smith on right now. Bear with me just a moment. In the Google Hangouts box that you have up, or the screen that you have up, there should be a camera, and I think if you click on that camera, there'll be an invite, I believe. Oh, I didn't even record that. Guys, give me one moment, okay? I'm going to, as a matter of fact, let's see if we can. Yes. Or okay. Okay, cool. Give me 1 second. I got you, Carlos. I'm coming. I'm so sorry, Mr. Smith. Give me just a moment. Okay, there we go. Let's try this. That, and then this, and then... Wait. That's broken. One minute, guys. Gosh. If something was going to go wrong, it would go wrong tonight, right?
You sent it to his email?
But it's okay. I just did. But I sent him the hyperlink, so maybe he can hopefully. There we go. Woohoo!
Can you see me?
I can't see you.
Yeah,
One
okay.
minute, guys. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad. If something was gonna go wrong, it would go wrong tonight, right? Oh my gosh, where's that at? Where's that feedback? Hello?
Hi, I see you.
Oh, you do see me? I don't see you. I just see a picture of you.
Turn camera off. Okay.
Oh, I mean, that's fine. That's absolutely fine. And we can just do voice if you like.
No, I definitely would love to do video. I'm just see you. I don't know how to turn this on. Let's see.
I'm so learning. Like, that's why every time I have a guest on and I'm trying to get you guys on, I'm like, oh my gosh, something's gonna mess up, something's gonna go wrong. And I normally try to do like a pre-show to, you know, work out all those kinks, but I know you're busy and I didn't want to ask.
Oh no. Well, I'm here for you. I'm just trying to figure out how these settings work so that you can see my face. I know you can hear me, but I think that it's turned on.
I wonder if I can. Maybe. Give me just a second here.
Help me.
Lord.
Have you ever used Google Hangouts, baby?
I have. I use it every week for. Oh, let's see. Oh, you know what? I think it was on my end.
Okay, it says that you just turned on my camera. I think you have to turn me on.
I did, and but it's not on still. But I did. It was like there's a control room now. I'm sure you know about it. And like on the control room, you were off. Your camera was off. But I have it on now.
Yeah, I can see you. I think you might have a setting that allows you to change or turn on my camera. I'm not entirely sure, but I'm not. Okay, and it says you just turned off my camera just now.
Okay, so now let's try turning it back on.
Okay.
Gosh.
I am here. I am here.
I know you're here. Thank you so much for being here. Yeah, babe, I can't figure out. Can you help me figure out maybe why we can't get him on the screen? My husband is my tech guy, Mr. Smith. So.
That's great. That's great. I was just asking my partner, Jarek, I'm like, baby, do you know how this works? That was when I said, baby, have you used this before? I was talking to him.
He's here, babe. And it says that it's on. Hold on, give me 1 second.
Yeah, I don't know why, baby.
I don't know why it's not either. So, is there no option for you to turn it on there, Mr. Smith?
There's a button, but it says that my camera, it says turn camera off, which I've just done, and then I just turned it back on, and I don't think that it really changes anything for you.
So weird. Well, you know, we'll just go with it.
Or I can just log off of it real quick and log back on and see if that fixes the problem really fast.
That works. You want to do that?
I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that
awesome.
real quick.
Cool. Yay, guys. Sorry about that. Thank you guys so much for your patience. You know, technical difficulties. They happen. I wasn't expecting them to happen, but of course, there wouldn't be technical difficulties if I was expecting them to happen. So let's try to get.
All right, I'm back, and I'm here to speak. I don't know if you can see me, but
no,
you can hear me.
It's okay. Well, I'm not exactly sure what happened, but we'll just go with it. It is called the Transistor Radio Show, so it'll kind of be like that.
Okay, that's fine with me.
Awesome.
Thank you for inviting me on. I really, really appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much for being here. I absolutely appreciate it. And I've had an opportunity to be in spaces with you quite a couple of times. And it's one of the reasons why I invited you on was because I love your activism. I love your passion. You have a passion that's undeniable. And I think to have someone like that in a seat that can make a difference for us is absolutely like amazing. And so I'm grateful that you're here. And let's just so let's tell everyone that might be watching right now who may not know a little bit about you. So from my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, so you were born here in Florida, correct?
Yes, I was the first in my family who was born in the United States. My dad is Peruvian, my mom is French Canadian, and so I think like many of us here in Florida, I'm a bit of a mix. I'm a mutt, so to speak.
Gotcha. Okay, and that's fantastic. And then so growing up, like I noticed that I was doing some research on you, and I noticed that for a while you worked for was it a mattress company? You were a super.
I managed a men's warehouse store.
Men's warehouse, that's what it was. That's right.
For 8 years, I managed a men's warehouse store. And then in 2008, a gentleman by the name of Senator Barack Obama was elected president of the United States. And everything for me changed because I was so inspired by his election. I kept telling myself, you have to do more, Carlos, to help him implement his agenda to elect more progressive candidates like Barack Obama who can really make a difference. But I didn't know how to do that. I couldn't figure it out. And I realized that I probably wasn't necessarily going to have the impact as a manager of the men's warehouse store. So I integrated myself by volunteering for organizations like Equality Florida and other organizations where I felt like I could make a difference. And that's kind of how I started getting involved in politics. Flash forward a few years later down the road, a good friend of mine from college, his name is Joe Saunders, who many of you know, decided that he was going to run for the Florida legislature. And I was a part of his campaign and I helped him. He got elected. He became the first, one of the first openly gay members of the Florida legislature. And he brought me with him to Tallahassee as his senior aide, as his legislative aide up in the Florida Capitol. And I learned a lot during those 2 years, that's for sure. But then in 2014, he lost his reelection by 1% of, and that was when Nadine offered me a job as the government affairs manager for Equality Florida, which meant it would literally be my responsibility to do right by LGBTQ Floridians in Tallahassee and promote pro-equality legislation, but also block hostile legislation towards our community. And it was during one of those fights that I decided that I wanted to run for the Florida House of Representatives myself. And what's interesting is that aha moment that I had in 2015, where I decided that I wanted to run, was when I was opposing and organizing against a transgender bathroom bill that was sponsored by Republican Representative Frank Artiles, and was actually moving through the legislature. It wasn't just a bill that was sponsored that wasn't going anywhere. It was being heard in committee. It was being approved and voted through in committee, and it was moving through the process. And I really realized in that moment that I felt like I could have a bigger impact on the issues that I was advocating for, not just for LGBTQ issues, but for everything, for healthcare, for our public schools, for gun safety, as a member of the Florida legislature myself, versus as an organizer or the government affairs manager for Equality Florida. So that was really kind of the deciding moment for me. And when I decided to run for office was when I was opposing that bathroom bill, which, by the way, did not pass and failed.
Awesome. Yeah, I was reading up on that earlier and I was like, woohoo! So like recently you and I think we saw one another at a vigil that we held for Sasha Gardner recently here in Orlando. And what I thought was absolutely awesome about that was that you took the time out of your day to come down to this little corner and to honor this young lady who had lost her life, a young lady that you didn't know, and you didn't have to do that. And so many people in places like you are like in place like you are in place don't do that. And so that really, really, really put a huge impact on me. And I want to know a lot more about your activism and like tell us what it is that you specifically are fighting for now as a House of Representatives representative.
Well, one of the things that I think the two values that I hold most dear is fairness and equality. Fairness and equality means a lot of different things to a lot of people, but to me, fairness means not having to choose between paying for your prescription drugs or putting food on the table. Equality means that you don't have to live in fear as an LGBTQ person of being fired from your job or not hired for a new job you're applying for because of your sexual orientation or your gender identity. That perhaps equality means that you're not going to be discriminated against in housing or public accommodations simply for being LGBTQ. Equality, of course, means so many other things as well. Like, for example, that immigrants aren't going to have their constitutional rights violated by ICE agents who use detainer requests that are not accompanied by a judicial warrant that takes away some of the immigrants' constitutional rights. I also believe that equality means that after you have served your time in prison, that you should be able to have your voting rights restored, which is why I support Amendment 4. But I just want to give you kind of a general idea of what my platform of fairness and equality really means, even beyond just LGBTQ equality. But the reality is that a lot of people don't know. In the state of Florida in 2018, you could be fired from your job or denied housing or service at a restaurant simply for being LGBTQ, and that is legal.
Wow, I did not know that.
It's legal because we're not in the Florida Civil Rights Act.
Oh, wow.
The Florida Civil Rights Act says that you can't discriminate against a person in any of those situations based on their religion, on their gender, but not their gender identity, on their ethnicity, their marital disability status or pregnancy status does not say that you can't discriminate against someone because of their sexual orientation or gender identity. We've been fighting really hard to pass a bill that's called the Florida Competitive Workforce Act that would add sexual orientation and gender identity as protected categories in the Florida Civil Rights Act, and that's really, really important to a lot of people.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I've noticed that you've been doing a lot of campaigning, and you're on the road, like you're on it, and I absolutely love it. Tell us a little bit about your campaign.
Well, right now what we're doing is we are knocking on doors like crazy. Actually, today I knocked on doors for almost 5 hours with my partner, Jarek, who was there with me talking to Brian to get out the vote, because early voting is starting on October 22nd, so we want to be ready for that. Mail ballots have already been mailed to people's homes if you're registered to vote by mail, and so people are deciding now, or at least casting their ballot for this election cycle. We've had a series of events and fundraisers in the area. For example, this past Thursday, we had a mix and mingle happy hour at the Hammered Lamb as part of my campaign, so people could interact with me, they could get to know me, they could ask me questions. And we're having another fundraiser coming up actually on October 23rd, which is a Tuesday, at the venue. A lot of people know where the venue is. It's off of Virginia Drive, kind of in that area of town near downtown. And we're going to be having a event there that everyone is invited to attend. It's going to be hosted by Equality Florida Action PAC. And again, that is on Tuesday, October 23rd at the venue starting at 6 o'clock. And I would love for your viewers and your listeners to join us if they're interested.
Thank you so much, and I do apologize, Mr. Smith. Bear with me just one moment. For some reason there, it appeared that the screen share. Okay, sorry about that. Oh my gosh, I'm so embarrassed. But it seems like everything's going wrong tonight. But thank you so much for that. And I'm following your campaigning and everything that you're doing, and it looks like you're absolutely out there. I want to talk about, since we're talking about campaigning for just a little bit, can we talk a little bit about Mr. Gillum for governor?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Mayor Gillum. I am so proud of the mayor and all the work and success that he's finding so far on the campaign trail. I was one of Mayor Andrew Gillum's earliest supporters for governor of the state of Florida. I endorsed him back in April. In fact, we hosted a fundraiser and volunteer kickoff for.
Oh my God.
Doing it again?
I don't know what just happened. Like, now I muted him.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Yeah.
Okay. I just saw a notification that said I was unmuted.
Oh.
So I'm like, okay. So yeah, Andrew Gillum, like, we had an event for him that I hosted back in April, and a lot of people were just finding out about him. And look, the real reason that I endorsed Andrew Gillum's race was because he really gets it on the issues that matter to us. He's not a Johnny-come-lately on issues like gun violence, for example. He sued the NRA as mayor of Tallahassee twice in court because he had the radical idea of being able to defend his city ordinance that says that you can't, or his city ordinance that says that you cannot bring a firearm to a city park or a city playground. And the NRA actually brought him to court and said, no, you can't pass an ordinance like that. He won in court twice. On the issues of marriage equality, for example, when Rick Scott and Pam Bondi were fighting us in 2015 tooth and nail to say that same-sex couples couldn't get married, he actually opened the doors of the city of Tallahassee and he told same-sex couples, come to Tallahassee, I will marry you myself. And he has been a pro-equality champion for quite some time, which is why organizations like the Human Rights Campaign and Equality Florida have endorsed Andrew Gillum for governor because they know that he's beyond just an ally to the LGBTQ community. At this point, he's an accomplice. And I say that in a good way because, you know, as an accomplice to the LGBTQ community, Andrew Gillum is really with us in the trenches in the fight for these issues.
Absolutely. I'm definitely rooting for Mr. or Governor Governor. I'm already calling him Governor.
We got to get out and vote, though. We got to vote.
Absolutely, and we're going to talk about that voting in just a moment. I had a question from a viewer that I wanted to get in for. So it says, recently a court in Florida affirms dignity for transgender people, even in prison. My question is, is he going to help support this for all trans women that are locked up?
This particular court very meaningful in the state of Florida for how the state deals with inmates, specifically obviously transgender inmates who were up until that point being denied access to appropriate grooming materials, undergarments, things of that nature. My understanding is that the decision requires the state of Florida to allow transgender inmates, or not even necessarily inmates that identify as transgender, but want access to specific grooming, particular undergarments for the particular gender that they identify with. And also a certain role is really, really weird, which was that they have different women's hair length standards in prisons and things of that nature. And this decision was said very, very loudly and very clearly that the gender identities of those inmates were going to be respected in certain ways. But the real question, Tiara, is if the legislature is really going to intervene. I don't see the Florida legislature intervening. And that's a good thing. The reason I say that is because the Florida legislature is currently controlled by Republicans. Yes, we need to get out the vote. Yes, that's very important. But the way that I see it, and I'm just going to be honest, it is very unlikely that if the Florida legislature intervenes on this issue and tries to create a standard in writing from their perspective, that it would be favorable to the transgender community.
Awesome. I want to interrupt you just a second. So I think I figured out what's happening here. Somehow you're screen sharing because everything you were just looking at, I was able to see here. So somehow you're sharing your screen with me.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm gonna unshare. I tried to share it a few minutes ago because I wanted to see if perhaps that meant I was sharing me, but I guess not. I'm gonna. How about I jump off and then I jump back on again? Okay.
Okay. Oh, guys, thank you so much for your patience, guys, with this. Oh gosh, the one time that I don't do a pre-show. This is why I don't deviate from routines, guys. But I'm grateful that he's here, and I'm grateful that he's answering our questions. And I'm going to definitely ask some more about voting. We're going to talk about voting here in just a moment. And then we're going to take some questions from you guys. So if you have some questions, we have them here now. So let's ask some questions. Of course, we're going to remain respectful. But if you guys have any questions, drop them in the comments box. Welcome back.
Hey.
Oh, my gosh. I was just telling the viewers that, like, of course it would be this interview. Like, I've done this for 8 weeks now, and like every time I do a pre-show, and the one time I deviate, and it's like, this is why I don't deviate from things, from like a routine, you know?
Well, I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy to answer any questions that any of your viewers have and continue this conversation for as long as you want to go.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much. So now, well, then let's talk a little bit about voting. Let's talk a lot about voting because at first I want to just say that, like, as far as me, and I say this because I know that there are other people that are viewing this or that will be viewing this later that feel the same or had the same views. Like, for the longest time, I didn't even, voting was not a thing for me. It wasn't voting in politics, and I didn't really care what was happening in the White House, and I didn't really care what was happening in the Senate. And, like, I didn't care because to me it didn't apply to me. And then as I began to get older, particularly with the administration that we have right now, I have began to realize how important it is to be up to date on what's going on, to know your facts and not just, you know, repeat what you've heard. And then about voting. There you are.
I was looking at it. I was looking at the screen share option, and I'm like, well, what if I just share my FaceTime feed? So
But
do you
I
see
will
just
say,
me and nothing else?
no, I actually see a whole list of phone numbers. So you probably want to, it looks like it's your contacts.
Yeah, it's like over on that side, but that's okay.
Okay. Okay. Oh my gosh. So, yeah, so like voting is so super important, particularly, for minorities, including Latinx, including, African American, including the LGBTQ community, including immigrants. Like, it's, well, you know what I mean. But like, I think it's so important, and especially now, especially, and this is just my opinion, especially after this past weekend and Saturday and Kavanaugh being confirmed, and like, I just think that the importance of voting in the midterms, it has like gone from, it was already here, and now it's like, let's do this. So yeah, what do you think?
Well, look, there's no question that people need to have their voices heard in this process. You know, this last couple of weeks with the appointment of Brett Kavanaugh to the United States Supreme Court, I know people are frustrated because they didn't get the outcome that they were hoping for, which was, of course, to block Kavanaugh from the Supreme Court. But the reality is that now they have their chance to have their voice heard through their vote. Their vote really, really matters. I was knocking on a lot of doors today where I reminded people of a saying that I've often heard, which is that good people who don't vote elect terrible politicians. And it's true. You're right. Many people on the other side are voting, who are making sure that their voice is heard on their issues. They end up having the final say. Mm-hmm. And we end up in a situation like we have in Florida, where Governor Rick Scott has been elected governor twice, with, in the first case, less than 1% of the vote in 2010. And then in 2014, he had a little bit of a wider vote margin, but it was still less than 2% of the overall turnout. You know, to me, what that is a reminder of is how painfully close Florida elections in particular can be. And this upcoming election for governor is going to be just as close. I know that there's been some mixed polling out there, but is anyone really clinging on to any poll nowadays as their saving grace for why they shouldn't be voting? I mean, the polls showed that Hillary Clinton was absolutely going to be elected president in 2016. And in this election cycle, in a 5-way Democratic primary, not a single poll showed that Andrew Gillum was in the lead, and yet he was, and he pulled off an upset that shocked so many political observers. So what I'm saying is the way to make sure that your voice is heard is always through voting, because the issues that directly impact our community are being decided by who we send to the Tallahassee, to Washington, to represent us. You know, when we're in a situation like we are in Florida, where there's been this rash of murders of transgender women of color, and it sounds like the people in charge don't value their lives or are not prioritizing the investigations of these murders. We know that many of those people are elected into those positions. And if they're not elected, they've been appointed by someone who is elected. Having someone in the governor's office, for example, that would have been able to pull on federal resources to investigate some of these murders as possible hate crimes is really, really important. That's someone that we need. We need that type of leadership right now. And I think that that's why it's so important for people to get out there to vote.
Absolutely. So often I'm out and about and I see people and they're coming up to me and I notice that it's increasing, and I think it's amazing. When you're out at the store or you're you're somewhere and someone comes up to you with that clipboard, it gives me such a joy. It's weird, but it really gives me a sense of joy because I just feel like this is going to be, for some reason, like deep inside of my spirit, I feel like this is going to be a season of change. And I think that some amazing things are going to happen. I mean, I'm not a psychic or a prophet or, but that's just how I feel. And maybe that's just great expectations. Maybe that's what I'm really, really hoping happens. It is what I'm hoping that happens.
Yeah, getting people to get out there and vote is super, super important. And the stakes are very high. You've got someone who is one of the best allies of Donald Trump. That's Ron DeSantis, who has absolutely been seen in public with bigots, with homophobes, with transphobes, and there's no question that he is not going to be an ally of our community in the governor's office. Andrew Gillum is absolutely going to be a champion for us, and he's going to start taking action on day one when he's elected.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus. So I have some questions from viewers. First question comes from Michaela, Michaela Soul. She says, so my question is, how can we ask trans women to get involved in the process? A lot of trans people don't feel like they are a part of the process, regardless of their party.
That's right. Well, I think that one of the things that can be done in LGBTQ circles as well is that LGBT organizations and groups are more inclusive of the transgender community. I often show up to these types of community events or events that are sponsored by LGBTQ organizations, and there's not, I try every single day to be as on the issues, but I don't bring to the table the lived experience that a transgender person has. Right. There's no way that I can. And I think having that representation and that diversity, not only in government, but in social justice work and in some of these different grassroots-led organizations who are trying to create change, I think is incredibly important and absolutely will have an impact.
Absolutely. Michaela, I hope that answered your question. That was a great question. Thanks for asking. And then we have another question here from, Michaela has another question for you. She says, so how can we get people, especially trans women, whose ID may not match their gender identity, and they are ashamed of their presence of their ID?
You broke up here the last part of the question.
Okay. She says, how can we get people, especially trans women whose ID may not match their gender identity, and they are ashamed of the presence of their ID, how can we make that more comfortable for them?
Well, I certainly think that in inclusive spaces like these, it's important for us to not assume anyone's pronouns and make sure that we are not only gendering people correctly, but also using the right pronouns so that we're respecting individual people's gender identities. But also at the same time, I think that creating safer spaces where people can be comfortable and that can be inviting to people of all gender identities, of all sexual orientations. I hope will send a message that they can be comfortable who they are. Look, I understand that one person's safe space is not another person's safe space, and that's why we have to create more of those spaces for every individual community so that they can really be themselves and be comfortable being who they are on their own terms.
Absolutely. And so I know that you played a large part in the controversial HB 43. And I applaud.
Which one was 43? I'm trying to remember the numbers now at this point.
43 was the Pastor Protection Act.
Oh yeah, that bullshit.
Yeah, I was reading up on it today, and you know I'm an ordained minister, and I
oh great.
That's a whole nother show, though. That's a whole nother show. But I wanted to talk a little bit about, since we were just talking about, Michaela asked about the ID situation. So, as I'm sure you know, there's a huge issue, and this is an issue that I actually experienced personally in my own life. So, like in the past, I've had felony charges, and so now it's been years, but now that it's like a very urgent thing for me to get my ID changed, there's so many obstacles, and it's just not like they don't make it easy. They don't make it easy whatsoever. And so like, but the fact that I have a felony and that is like something that's keeping me from being able to change my name immediately. Of course, now what's great is that there's a lot of resources that can help with that. But is there anything that you know of that's in the works to make that a little bit easier?
So even though the process is frustrating and sometimes difficult depending on someone's circumstance, the good news is there's at least a process that exists in writing that individuals can change their gender marker on their driver license for identification purposes. I have worked very closely with Gina Duncan at Equality Florida on these issues, and I think what I hate to put the question back on the community, but I think we're looking for what additional changes can be made to the current process to make it easier, because there are a list of documents that you have to produce in order to have your driver license gender marker changed, and it's easier for some than it is for others. But we're always soliciting feedback on trying to find out how things can be made easier so that we can rally around those changes. We can't make the changes directly. We being either Equality Florida or even Florida Lawmakers, that's something that happens in another state agency, but we can advocate for them.
Right.
And we can advocate for changes if we know specifically, and we do have to get really specific because at least they have a process to be able to improve it. And I'm sure that there are ways that it can be improved.
Right, absolutely. And I'm glad you actually brought that up just now. Can you tell us, for the viewers who may not know exactly what it is that what you do as a Florida House of Representative, can you tell us what exactly it is that you do?
So as a Florida lawmaker, the legislature is constitutionally required to be in session 60 days per year. The only main requirement of lawmakers in Tallahassee is that budget every single year. Of course, that's the number one in the state government functioning with the budget, because that affects our public schools, transportation, healthcare, things of that nature. But while we're there, we're also passing bills and debating, proposed new laws and things of that nature. And we have committee hearings throughout that process and in the lead up to that process. And I spend almost half of the year, every year in Tallahassee, just performing those duties, studying up on the issues, preparing to take important votes on legislation, and doing the best that I can to be an advocate for my constituents, which are not only my constituents in East Orlando. Yes, I represent East Orlando, the kind of UCF Union Park area, but I can sense, which is why I've taken on and tackled so many issues. They're certainly important to constituents in my area, but some of the issues I've taken on have been important to other areas as well. And I think that it's important that we be responsive to all Floridians.
Absolutely. Well, awesome. I just want to repeat again that I absolutely love your passion. We're just about out of time for the night, but like I really appreciate you being here. I want to check back in just a minute, and so I mean check back really quick and see if we have any questions from viewers. Viewers, if you guys have any questions, now is the time to ask, because if not, we're going to end the show here in just a couple moments. But we have Mr. Smith here, and he's willing to answer questions. So if you have any, please ask. And again, I want to thank you, Carlos, for being here. Thank you so much for everything that you do for not just the trans community, but for everyone. And so my passion, a lot of people who know me know that my passion is equality. And I feel that equality means everyone. And that's such a hard thing sometimes to balance. But I'm trying my absolute hardest. And so I see that in your heart. And I think that's why I like you so much, because you're the same way. It's just all about equality with you.
Thank you. Thank you, Tiara. You know, that's something, a passion that comes from me through my own lived experience as someone who has faced discrimination as a queer Latinx person myself. I myself am a survivor of hate violence from an incident from when I was a student at UCF, where I was viciously attacked at a party at UCF. You know, as a survivor myself of hate violence, I understand how serious these issues are, which is why when I see it happening to other communities who are also being discriminated against and who are also the targets of hate violence, I take it very, very personally, which is why I'm a serious and authentic advocate on these issues.
Yeah, absolutely. Completely. Well, like I said, thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate your heart and everything you do. Tell your husband I said hello. Thanks for loaning you to us for a little bit. And
Derek, everyone says hello, baby.
and we're so appreciative of you being here.
He's blowing kisses, but he's in the kitchen in his underwear. So
gotcha. Okay.
Did I say too much?
Not at all. Not at all. This is a radio show. It's all good. Thank you so much again for being here. And I would love to have you on again. Maybe try this again. Sometime if you'd be happy to come back or willing to come back.
Yes. And you know, if you'd be ever so gracious, anytime you need me, anytime there's an incident in the community where, you know, people need to hear from their elected leaders and they want to have a conversation, I think your platform is a great one. I would always be willing, assuming scheduling wise we can make it happen, to be a part of that dialogue. I'm constantly learning from the community as well, how to be a better advocate. And for those who want to reach out to me or just keep tabs on what I'm doing, my website is www.carlosguillermosmith.com. And you can also like my Facebook page. It's called Representative Carlos Guillermo Smith. And you can also follow me on Twitter. And my Twitter handle is @CarlosG.Smith. I'm always talking to people on social media platforms. I try to be as accessible as possible. But thank you so much for having me, Tiara.
Thank you so much. And Cece, one of our viewers, says, we love you, Carlos, and thank you so much for all the hard work you do. So
absolutely. That's what you sent me to Tallahassee to do.
Absolutely. And we appreciate it. Thanks again. You have a great night.
Thank you. You too. Take care.
All right, babe. Oh my gosh, guys. So that was awesome. I'm so grateful for him. So grateful for having him in places like in the House of Representatives as a lawmaker. He is definitely fighting for you and I, guys. So that was really awesome. So glad. Hey, guys, everybody, thanks on Facebook that joined today. Thank you guys for being here. I'm going to go ahead and end this now. We're gone. We're out 5,000. There we go. All right, guys. And for you guys, thank you so much for viewing. For all of you guys that are here and that are normally here, I know I lost a ton of viewers earlier when we were having the difficulties, and that's fine. Things happen. This video is still going to be up like all of the other ones to watch at a later time. So thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you for your support. Next week, be sure to tune in. Next week, we have an awesome episode. It's Black, Trans, and Educated. We're going to have some amazing educated Black, trans individuals on the show, and we're going to talk real about education and the importance of transgendered people getting an education, having an education, and utilizing that education to change the world. So we'll see you guys next week. Thanks again for your patience tonight. Thanks, and thanks. Get out and vote, 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 vote. Bye, guys.